And gentlemen, Psalms 40:41, verses 7 and 8 say, all that hate me whisper together against me. Against me they devise my hurt. An evil disease, they say. An evil disease cleaves to him, and now he lies, and he will arise no more. Then I said, lo, I come. In the volume of the book it is written of me. I delight to do your will, O my God. Yes, your law is inside of my heart. Haters will hate. We look at the Mandalay Bay mass shooting, and we realize that haters will hate. And all haters do is try to destroy. They do nothing to construct or do anything good. But you think about the first responders. You think about the people who protected other people so that more people didn't die. And you realize that it is better to love than to hate. Incidentally, it's an up in age, rich white man who has committed this act. And no one's really saying it's an act of terror, but that's exactly what it is. It was an act of terror that happened that night. It's called domestic terror. And we've seen that with not only this white man, but also with a young white man in Charlotte, where he ran his car into some people. People talk about, ISIS and Muslims, and even they are discussing and saying that the people who took a knee in the NFL, how disloyal they are to the flag. But apparently, once you're white, you're a male, they seem to minimize the acts of terror and evil and unpatriotism that you do. I'm just saying. Just an observation. Which goes back to boxing and racism. Even though Canelo Alvarez is white, even though he's very skilled and he's a great boxer, yet people will pick GGG over him because GGG has European blood and resembles more of the white. And so he is the great white hope, not Canelo, because Canelo doesn't speak English, I guess. It's one of those funny things where the real deal continually has to prove itself. And the overhyped fake thing seems to always have praise. Which leads me to this video on what I'm going to say today. A lot of people said that GGG, he jabbed Canelo to death. And Canelo just survived and he had a hell of a chin. That was the stuff going around. And they were saying, like, when you look at the eye test, it looked like GGG was winning the fight. Okay. First of all, let me start off by saying this, ladies and gentlemen, whether you accept it or not, is the Canelo era. Canelo is now the guy in charge of everything. And the sooner you come to accept that, the sooner you will be a happy person and not a hater. The eye test. Well, how I do it is like this. People like to say how the face looks marked up. Now, if GGG was really jabbing the daylights out of Canelo, then we would see it on his face, right? Now here, Canelo's wearing shades. This was in his fight against Erislandy Lara, the fight in which some people claim Erislandy Lara won. And Canelo's face is marked up so badly that his eye is swollen. Erislandy Lara, his face is also marked up, even though you don't see it in this little clipping here. I will show you that he marked up Erislandy Lara's face, even though Canelo wasn't throwing a lot of headshots in this fight. He exclusively went to the body. Here you see Canelo, he's wearing shades. Again, the picture's quite blurry, so you can't really see that his eye is busted up, but the fact that he's wearing shades should tell you that his face is not one in which his eyes especially, that he wants you to see them. So he's put on shades. This is a mark of when a boxer's gotten hit and hit bad, okay? Here's a better picture and a close-up so you can see that his eye is messed up here. His blood accumulated underneath the surface of his eye, and he was taking constantly straight lefts to his face by Erislandy Lara, especially in the early parts of the fight, until he went to the body. So in this case, Canelo's face was marked up, and marked up bad. Marked up and puffy, okay? All the top of his head was marked up with blood. You can see little red marks, okay? And because he's not a black person, you'd see it even more visibly. Here it is again, but it's a little bit further away. Now, we knew that Erislandy Lara in this fight was effective when he threw his lead right or he threw his jab. Okay? He was pretty effective in the fight. In fact, in the fight, he landed more jabs than Canelo. Canelo landed more power shots, mostly more body work. Nonetheless, Canelo was able to do this to Erislandy Lara's face. As you can see here, mess up his eye. And so Erislandy Lara would wear a cap, and even though you couldn't see it in the other blurry picture, you can see it very clearly here that Erislandy Lara's face was messed up. That was from a right uppercut that Canelo caught Erislandy with and busted his eye up with one punch. That's right, one punch. Canelo hits hard, okay? Erislandy Lara literally went for a jog a couple times in that fight, running away from Canelo's body punches. The boy hits hard. I mean, real hard. But that's another story for another day. We're looking at the eye test, right? So in that fight, both Erislandy Lara and Canelo, they got their faces marked up. Before I go on, Thomas the Hitman Hearns said this about GGG versus Canelo fight. He said, GGG is a strong fighter. He can fight with anyone, but he does not get away from taking some punches. If Canelo does what he has to do, if he boxes, stays away from danger, if he does that when he releases his punches, he has a good chance of winning. Like I said, and Thomas Hearns also observed, GGG gets hit too damn much for an elite fighter. And that is his downfall, and that's why he can get outpointed in fights, and the other fighter can win. And clearly, this is why I believe Canelo won the fight. He landed not only jabs, but he landed the power punches, the majority of power punches on GGG, and GGG had no answer for him. He could not land back his power punches. Now, people say GGG jabbed Canelo to death. He out-jabbed him, and Canelo couldn't get away from the jab. Okay. Let's look. Well, first of all, this is Canelo here. This is after the fight, and Canelo here, they're celebrating Canelo's win. Here's Canelo up closer, and as you look at Canelo's face and compare Canelo's face to the face of Canelo when he faced GGG, you will notice Canelo has no bumps on his face. None. In fact, after the fight, Canelo looked like this just a couple days later, showing you that those were just surface wounds that he had. This is GGG's jabs, obviously, that caused this, but it's in nowhere near the damage he got from Erislandy Lara. And he beat Erislandy Lara in that fight. Okay. Now let's move on. When GGG faced Willie Monroe is wearing shades because his face got messed up. Not only his face, but also his body. Okay, he took some nasty body shots. And in fact, it was a body shot, I believe, that brought Willie Monroe down. This is GGG's face at the end of a Willie Monroe fight. As much as people said Willie Monroe was tagging up GGG, look at his face. It's like a baby's face. This is Kell Brook at the end of his fight with GGG. As we all know, Kell Brook broke his right orbital. His right eye orbital was broken at the end of this fight. Look at his face. Look how swollen it is. This was GGG's face at the end of the fight. Smooth like a baby's bottom. This is Danny Jacobs at the end of his fight with GGG. He's wearing shades, telling you how bumpy his face is. His face looks lumpy and bumpy all the way through. Even his mouth looks bumpy. Okay? Just so you can have a better look. That's Danny Jacobs' face at the end of the GGG fight. You can see his eye is clearly swollen. His cheekbones are clearly swollen. The next eye is also swollen. You can see lumps on his face and forehead. Alright? He took some punishment. This is GGG at the end of that fight. Look at his face. It's not smooth as a baby's bottom. You can see little marks here and there. He has puffy cheeks here. But other than that, it's nowhere like this face. Look at that. Lumpy, lumpy, lumpy. Look at that big old swollen part right there. Okay? You could tell Danny Jacobs was in the fight. Less so GGG. Look at GGG's face. There are some marks here and here and here and here. But they're like superficial marks like Canelo. They're not really bumps. Okay? Again, Canelo's face. We zoom in really nice and close so you can see it. And really, they're just little blood marks, but not swollen. None of his face is swollen. Okay? So that was Canelo. This is after the Canelo fight. That's Canelo's face, and here's GGG's face. You see the marked difference. Swollen cheekbone here. Swollen all down the right side of the face. Look at that. You can see it's red. Okay? Showing, and his eyes almost closed in here. That's showing you the damage that GGG took from Canelo. Whereas Canelo took basically almost nothing from GGG. This is him actually going to a party, a Jewel's party at the end of that GGG fight. Okay? And like I said, this is what Canelo looks like after the fight, just a couple days after. There's absolutely no marks of trauma anywhere on his face. He's a freckled guy. All right? So if you're going by the eye test, and if GGG, according to you guys, is such a great jabber, he's a fantastic jabber, how come Canelo didn't have a swollen, lumpy eye? I mean, if you jab, I mean, what is it? GGG's jab suddenly became soft, or Canelo's head suddenly became hard? Which one is it? All right? Remember, this is Canelo's face at the end of the GGG fight. This is GGG's face at the end of the fight. Do your eye test, folks. Who's got the lumpier face? See, I got facts. What do you have? GGG's this great jabber, right? If he was landing that jab like you guys claim, Canelo's face would look worse. Because you saw the guys GGG fought. You look, the Danny Jacobs' face is a mess. Okay? His face is a mess. Okay? Kell Brook's face was wrecked. Willie Monroe's face was in goggles. He was wearing black goggles. Then when you see his eyes, Canelo ain't wearing no goggles. Canelo's face looked like he almost ain't getting touched. And we've seen Canelo's face when it's touched. Right? We've seen what Canelo's face looks like when it's touched. Right? It's swollen. The whole face is swollen. Let me show you it again. Here. His whole face, the whole side of this face here was swollen from Erislandy Lara's shots. From rounds 1 to 3, Erislandy Lara is tearing into Canelo with some hard lefts. Canelo would take it even though he's snapping back. He wasn't having that in the fight with GGG. Okay? That didn't happen. See, look at Canelo's face. All here is lumpy and swollen. That's why he's wearing glasses. He didn't wear glasses for GGG fight. So guys, all of this evidence shows you who really, by the eye test, who really won this fight. Thomas Hearns knows. He knows Canelo won. A lot of other people who know boxing know Canelo won. Why is it you hold fast to something which is not true? A myth. GGG, yeah, he kept on coming forward. He kept on coming forward. I give him that. But that's it. He kept on throwing his jab. Even though it wasn't landing. He kept on throwing his jab. But the next time Canelo fights GGG, he gonna make it obvious. He gonna make it so obvious that Stevie Wonder, who's blind, gonna know that Canelo won this fight. A blind man will know that Canelo won this fight. Okay? There's a guy who was blind and he tries to judge boxing. You know, figure out who's winning. A blind guy will know that Canelo won this fight. So I'm looking forward to the rematch. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a great one. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget you can donate to my channel. Message me to donate. You guys have a great one.